Close. Who knows what that is?
Motorcycle.
Motorcycle. It's not only a motorcycle. It's a Harley-Davidson motorcycle.
Yeah.
I'll draw one more picture here. Car, very good. Y'all are getting good. But it's not only a car.
Thanks.
It's a Lincoln car. Back when I was in my first journey there for that 4.5 years, you know, I used to be in construction before I got into this business, or before I got into the internet, and every time it got to where it was just a weekly thing. It didn't matter if I was just, you know, just despondent. But every time I would start thinking, you know, maybe I should go get a job. Because that can happen when you work that long with no money. I would go out and I would drive around Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I would drive by these construction sites. And I would just ride around for a while. And every time I would see a construction site, I'd drive real close and I'd watch these construction workers out there. There's nothing wrong with the construction industry, don't get me wrong. I just don't want to go back to it. And I would look at these people working. And then I would drive over to the Harley-Davidson motorcycle shop in Tulsa. And I would walk in the shop and I would sit on the motorcycle that I wanted to own that day. And I would sit there, and I know these guys thought I was crazy, but I would sit there and I just picture myself riding that motorcycle. I pictured myself owning that motorcycle. I'd do that for a while. And then I'd drive over to the Lincoln car company. Not just Lincoln, so there were other cars that I was interested in possibly owning. I would go in the car company. And I would sit in those cars. And while I was sitting there, I'd close my eyes. And I read books that says this works. And I'd close my eyes and I would just picture myself driving that car. And I would even breathe in that new car smell. I mean, that's how important it was to me, because I did not want to quit. And keeping my eyes on these two things right here kept me from quitting. And after I drove around and I went to the motorcycle shop and the car company, I would go park across the street from this house. And I would sit out there on the side of the road, staring at that house. And I would picture myself living in that house. I don't live in that house. But let me tell you, I own that motorcycle and I own that car. And I paid cash money for both of them. And when I was doing that, I didn't have a penny to my name. But that motorcycle and that car kept me from giving up and going out and getting a job and settling like a lot of people do. You know, in life, you've got choices, and I hate repeating things. There's some people who have been here. This is the 4th meeting that I've had here in the last 2 days. But I've got to repeat something here. You know, we've all got choices to make. In fact, I'll tell you how important I think choices are. I firmly believe that if any time in my life, any time, like if I was driving down the street and I stopped at a stoplight and I turned right, I firmly believe that if I would have turned left, I wouldn't be here right now. It's choices. We make choices every day. Every minute of the day we make choices. And every choice that you make determines where you're going to be in the future. Every choice. And you know, I was watching a movie back in the 80s. And there's this, any of y'all know this actor called John Candy? Mm-hmm. He's a real funny guy. Him and Steve Martin were in this movie. I think it's called Trains, Planes, and Automobiles. Mm-hmm. And he was some kind of a salesman, door-to-door salesman. He said one thing in this movie that totally changed my life. And that one thing was, think big, be big. You know, I sat there and it was a comedy of all things. But when he said that, it just hit me. I thought, you know, I was in, let's see, 80s. I was probably in my 30s. I'm a lot older than I look. But he said that, and it just hit me so hard. I thought, you know, that's a powerful statement. Because it takes no more, I mean, it just all hit me. And I was saying, you know, it takes no more thought to think, I would like to live in a small apartment, than it does to think, I would like to live in that big white house on the hill. Not a bit more thought. But what it does when you think, I want to live in a small apartment, you just limited yourself to that small apartment. You'll never get bigger than that because you put a limit on yourself. When you think, I mean, you know, this house, everybody in Tulsa knows this house. Everybody. I mean, it's probably the most popular house in Tulsa because you drive down this road, you go over a couple of hills, and you drive by, and there it is, and it's been there for like 30 years. Probably had 10 owners. Been an unlucky house, but you know, I'm going to think big because I can. We all can. I mean, it takes no more effort. I mean, what's the difference? You can think, I want to drive a little small car, or I want to drive a Hummer. Just because you drive a small car that's not a bad thing. But if you drive a little small car, I mean, if when you're thinking about it, I mean, all your thoughts are for the future. They're not for right now. Anything you think is something in the future or something in the past. I try to gear my thoughts towards the future. But when every thought you have in your brain, you let it happen. And if you think bad thoughts, then that's how you live your life. If you think good thoughts, that's how you live your life. If you think small things, that's how you live your life. If you think big things, I may never live in that house. But I'll die trying. And if I die trying, I didn't fail. May not have got there. But my sights will always be set on that house. Always. The reason I'm in this room today is because of that house. Because I want to own that house. And it's not about the money. It's not about owning that house. It's the fact that I might as well want to own that house than a little small wooden house. What's the difference? If I would own a little small wooden house, I promise you I'll never own that house. If you want something in life, number one, I firmly believe, and I know this is true, focus on what you want. Don't focus on the obstacles that it takes to get you there. I mean, there's obstacles every single day. I mean, there are all kinds of obstacles. But when you focus on that white house, these obstacles just automatically start moving out of the way. They really do. I mean, they just move out of the way. And also, when you just have that, I mean, when you want something so bad, I mean, you know you want it that bad. You start attracting the people and the things that it takes for you to get that. So anyway, they just told me my time's up. I can talk forever, but you know, I want y'all to know that, you know, if you're not a member of En101 and take a look at it, if it's for you, go with us. If it's not, you know, that's okay. We're just going to keep going just like we're going, and you know, we pick up people along the way every single day, and I'm just so amazed with Vancouver, because a few months ago, I know we had some people in Vancouver a year or so ago, but it's been kind of slow here, and then a few months ago, boom, it just took off. And Sue Lee's been calling me for 2 years now, about every day or two, because she's persistent. And the reason we're all sitting here right now is because of Sue Lee.